GIGGS is going to get off the bench, start warming up when I'm really tired near the end
Yeah.
of the game. And he's going to come on fresh as a daisy. At least when I start the game against him, we're both fresh. I said, I'm going to be tired and he's going to come on fresh as a daisy. Sure enough, he started warming up after about 70 minutes. And I looked at him and he ran past me and he went, won't be a minute, pick out. And I was like, oh, God.
So just to round up for us, Lee, we've got some questions here, just from people who are just quite intrigued, quite simple ones. So the first one I've got is from Tom Lake, my friend who is also an Arsenal supporter, and he was very jealous I'm doing this interview. He says, who is the best player you faced?
Ryan Giggs.
Ryan Giggs.
I mean, I could sit here and ponder and go, Rivaldo was pretty good when I played against him against Barcelona. He was pretty good, but I only played against him twice or once. But Ryan, I always say Ryan because it was a constant. I played against him for about 10 years. It was just relentless. Every time we played United, I got Ryan Giggs. You know, it was like, so, and with him, you always had to be on your game, even though I had some really good games against him and I had some really bad ones as well. So you had to be, even if you were keeping him quiet for 89 minutes,
yeah,
he would do something, you know, and the semi-final springs to mind against United when he scored that goal at Villa Park. But I'll never forget, in the dressing room before the game, the team sheet came in and they were going for the treble at the time, and they were playing Juventus, I think, later midweek. We had a replay against them at Villa Park. The team sheet came in and Giggs wasn't on it. He was on the bench, I think. Not sure. I think Dwight York might have been on the bench.
Yeah.
There was a few that he'd left, Sir Alex had left out for the Juventus game to rest them. And I remember the lads saying, looked at, and Jesper Blomqvist was playing left wing, who was a really good player, by the way, but he didn't play much because obviously Giggs, he was brilliant. Yeah. And they all said, oh, you lucky thing, Giggs isn't playing. And I looked at him and I said, are you crazy? I said, have you not worked out what's going to happen? They were like, what? You're playing against Blomqvist? I said, well, firstly, he's a good player. Yeah. So I'll have to be on my game anyway. Secondly, probably 75, 80 minutes, Giggs is going to get off the bench, start warming up when I'm really tired near the end of the game. And he's going to come on fresh as a daisy. At least when I start the game against him, we're both fresh. I said, I'm going to be tired and he's going to come on fresh as a daisy. Sure enough, he started warming up after about 70 minutes. And I looked at him and he ran past me and he went, won't be a minute, pick out. And I was like, oh, God. Sure enough, he came on and the rest is history and scored that goal. So, so Ryan Giggs is the long answer to that question.
That's brilliant. If you could sum up what scoring a goal feels like in front of however many thousand in just one word, what word would you use?
Bliss.
Bliss. What's the thinking like when you score? Do you then go, where do I celebrate, or is it just like a ah?
No, yeah. Most of the time, I had no clue what I was doing celebrating because it was so unusual that I scored. So yeah, it was kind of because Wrighty used to practice all his celebrations in training. So he'd go, right, this week I'm going to do this, and he'd rehearse it in training, and we'd go, yeah, that's a good one. No, don't use that one. Yeah, that's good. So he used to, be brilliant. So when he scored, you kind of look and go, and then he'd do his little dance or whatever. But with me, it was like I guess that I should change that word from bliss to shock. Because it didn't happen very often, but it's like no other feeling. It is incredible. I suppose it's close, but not the same as the feeling when you have a child. I think when you first see your firstborn, I think that's like whoa, it's like that. Well, you know that. I'm presuming you haven't got kids yet.
I haven't got kids yet. No, I haven't. But I'll look forward to it. Right, so we all recognise your voice from FIFA commentary. Is there anyone you enjoy to commentate with in general, or is it all quite level parring?
Commentate with?
Yeah, just like a fun person. Is Alan Smith someone you like
Well, normally, so for NBC, I work, most of my weekends are taken up broadcasting to America on NBC because they cover all the Premier League. And I work with a commentator called Arlo White, who's English, who did a lot of cricket commentary on Five Live years ago, but then transferred over to football. And he's a brilliant commentator. We have a really good laugh. And my other commentator, who we kind of split the games with, but quite often we do a three-man booth where the two of us are together, is Graham Lasso. And me and Graham are good mates, and we weren't good mates when we played against each other. I used to kick lumps out of him, literally. So when NBC put the team together and it was me and Graham, it was quite funny because I phoned him up and said, "Oh, I get to kick you again under the table." So we have a good laugh. He's a good friend of mine. So we share a very similar sense of humour. So it's all about having a laugh, having a laugh and being insightful about what you're seeing. That's all commentating is, or co-commentating is. It's just telling the viewer something at home that they couldn't possibly know because they haven't been there, or they haven't been in a dressing room, they haven't tackled Ryan Giggs, they haven't chased him down the line. So something, and that's not a kind of, I'm not blowing smoke up my chimney there. I'm just kind of saying it's insight. That's all commentating and co-commentating is about. It's just giving somebody a bit of insight into something they don't know, and having a laugh. It's like having a chat with your mate in the pub about the games going on and what do you think about this. And that's how I try to come across. FIFA's slightly different because it's, we could do a whole show on FIFA. That would take a while to explain. But FIFA's slightly different because it's a little bit forced. The lines are, I'm not watching anything. All the lines, I write all the lines myself, but I'm giving examples of what the scenario is, and then I'll write 10 different lines. But when I'm delivering them, I'm not looking at the action. I'm not seeing the action and then saying it. I've just got a scenario written on a piece of paper. Somebody's in the box on the right-hand side, shoots. It should hit the target. He does. Keeper makes a save. And then I have to think of a line like that and then do another 5. So that's a tough gig, FIFA. And it's a little bit different than actually watching something, and then it's a bit more natural when you're watching a game as opposed to just looking at a blank screen.
Yeah, that must take a long time though, saying like so many players' names as well.
Oh, each year we do about 15 to 17 days in the studio, and the days are long and they're brutal on the voice. So it's me and obviously with Derek's in Boston, he normally flies over and we do it in a studio together. But we've had to do this last game remotely on our own in a studio, and him being recording his lines and then me recording my lines, and then they overlay them. And I mean the logarithms and the computer that makes that game happen is absolutely mind-boggling how it works. It's crazy. Yeah. So if there's ever a glitch in FIFA and I say something that's a little bit out of context, it's not my fault, okay? It's the computer.
It's the mind-boggling computer.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.